Hello everybody, welcome back to C&S Corvettes in beautiful sunny Sarasota, Florida. It's your Corvette buddy Lyle here to talk to you about more interesting, exciting, and hopefully helpful Corvette stuff. Today I'm going to be having a conversation with you as if you were sitting with me at my desk and you were asking, I'd like to buy a C7, what do I need to know and what are the differences? Well, today we're going to have that conversation, you and me. Let's get into it. So let's go through the different kinds of C7 you could get before we talk about details. There was the base car, and that is divided into base or base with Z51 performance package, which we'll get into in a minute. Then you had the Grand Sport, introduced in 2017, and you've got the Z06 from 2015 onward, and then of course the ZR1 in 2019. Let's dive into the base car first because that's a great entry point for anybody. It's still plenty of car. So it had the 6.2 liter LT1 V8. It had 455 horses in base trim, 460 if you had the Z51 with the performance exhaust. In 2014, it had a 6-speed automatic transmission that was basically the same transmission that was in the C6 prior. From 2015 on, it had the 8-speed automatic, and all C7s, if they were manuals, had a 7-speed stick shift manual. The Z51 package was basically the best version of the base car you could get. Some of the things that came with it that weren't on the base car was you got the dry sump oiling system so that your engine would continue to oil itself regardless of how many G's you threw at it in the corners. Bigger brakes, better, more sport-tuned suspension, electronic limited slip differentials to keep that rear end in shape, and transmission and diff coolers to help keep everything kind of cool when the car is being pushed harder than just normal driving, and of course wider wheels and tires. Pricing for a 2014 to 2019 base coupe or base coupe with Z51 is going to run somewhere between the high 30s and the low to mid 50s, depending on options, color, mileage, and all the usual, details that determine what a car is worth. Z51 cars tend to cost a little bit more, as you can imagine, as it was not an inexpensive option, and it does make the car more desirable to own and to then sell later on. Known issues with the base cars are kind of shared throughout the entire C7 line, so we'll address them here first. The active fuel management lifter problems can rise up after 80 or 90,000 miles in some LT1 engines. The 8-speed transmission that was available, automatic transmission, 2015 and newer, can have a shuttering problem. It doesn't like working with the AFM system going from V8 to V4 to V8 to V4, and it can cause the torque converter to kind of shudder like this. Torque tube vibration on higher mileage cars and older cars as the couplers degrade and fall apart. And of course, the belt tensioner is the #1 failure part. Thankfully, it is relatively inexpensive, and labor to change it is also relatively inexpensive. It's the best entry point to C7 ownership. The Z51 is what most enthusiasts want, but even the base car is a very potent machine. Next up in the levels of awesomeness with the C7 is the Grand Sport. It has the same 6.2 liter LT1 that the base car does. It has 460 horsepower. And obviously the main feature of a Grand Sport is it has the wide body of the Z06. It's got bigger brakes, wider tires. It's got the dry sump oil system, improved cooling. So basically it is a Z51 base car on steroids, but with the Z06 wide body and all that comes with it. Pricing on a Grand Sport is going to be somewhere between $50,000 and $65,000 for a car with 50,000 miles. The same AFM concerns as the base car. All the other issues are pretty much the same. If you do have the magnetic ride shocks, you'll want to monitor those for any kind of oil leakage, because when those do fail, and they do, they can be very expensive, up to $700 a piece just for one shock. The C7 Grand Sport is probably the best balanced as far as value per dollar, performance, road holding, all those things together. It's got a much more aggressive look than the base car, and it just has a presence that the base car kind of lacks. It's got great handling without dealing with supercharger heat and other problems. And all in all, if you want the Z06 look and the wider stance and everything like that without paying the extra, because you just don't need the extra 200 horses you get from the Z06 to enjoy the car, the Grand Sport's your best bet. That brings us to the C7 Z06. Now, of course, it had a supercharged LT4 producing 650 horses and 650 foot-pounds of torque. Obviously, it features a very large supercharger, the wide body, the big cooling system, magnetic ride suspension, more aggressive aero. Price on those is higher than the Grand Sport. If you find a C7 Z06 in good condition with around 50,000 miles, plan on spending somewhere between $60,000 and $75,000 for it. Some of the known issues specific to the Z06 were heat soak during hard driving, belt tensioner problems, premature supercharger belt wear, and on some of the factory wheels, there was a serious problem with wheels cracking under stress. This is something that actually resulted in a class action lawsuit, so aftermarket wheels may not be a bad idea, especially if you're going to be pushing the car hard. In sum, the Z06 is huge power for the money. Very few cars in the world anywhere near this price range can compete with it. Performance-wise, it is truly one of the fastest cars anywhere for that kind of money. Finally, of course, we have the C7 ZR1, produced only in 2019. It had a supercharged LT5 on it, largest supercharger ever fit to an American car at that point in time. 755 horses and 715 pound-feet of torque. Huge cooling system, carbon fiber aero, especially with the Z07 package where you just had all the carbon fiber bits to give you as much downforce as possible. Was available in coupe and convertible, just like all the other models. It did have, in the most aggressive setting, it did have an adjustable rear wing, not manually adjustable, not, automatic electronically. The ZR1 isn't really something that people who are looking for something to drive are really considering. People who buy ZR1s tend to do it as an investment. Typical values on the less desirable versions are $160,000, and the manual coupe with the full Z07 whatever aero package, those are bringing well over 250 or 300. It's crazy. A supercharger belt system still uses tensioners, so that is going to be a wear issue. Carbon ceramic brakes are very expensive should you damage them or should you wear them down past the point of usability, and parts are harder to find than for other C7 models because the ZR1 by comparison was very limited production. This obviously is the ultimate take on not only the C7, but what was possible with the front engine rear drive layout. So now that we've covered all of your different choices, this is if you were sitting at my desk where I'd ask you, how do you plan on using the car? Oh, well, my wife and I like to cruise, I play golf, I like to do a couple of shows, I'd like to take it on longer trips. Okay, great. Then you really don't need a Z06. You certainly don't need a ZR1. The base car, the base Z51 or the Grand Sport are going to be the best car for you because you're not going to end up paying for things that you're not going to use. If you want a nice, capable, powerful cruiser, you don't need 650 horses to do that. If you plan on driving the car in more than just sunny, dry weather conditions, like you would on a long trip, I would say that the base car or the Grand Sport with less aggressive tires installed would be your best bet, so that in any situation, you can feel confident in how the car is going to place itself and how it's going to treat you. If you say, Lyle, I've spent some time on track, I've done some HPDE with my whatever car I had before, and I'm looking for something that I can drive and enjoy, but I also want something that I can do track days with without breaking the bank and without breaking the car. Grand Sport is an excellent, excellent choice for that because it's going to have it had the option of having the carbon ceramic brakes, just a beefier platform. The C51 base car is usable in that way, but I think that you'd have to do less to a well-situated Grand Sport to make it track sustainable than you would for a base car. The Z06, of course, fantastic, but again, even at a place like Sebring, where the GT3 cars have 500 or 550 horses, where would you use that 650 horses from the Z06? If you're going out simply for the joy of driving on a track and doing it well at a very good clip of speed, the Grand Sport or the Z51 base coupe are going to be just fine for that. And again, you're not paying for things that you don't need. If you say, Lyle, I want to go to shows, I want to win trophies, and I want to take the car to the track at least once in my life and just light my hair on fire and have an unbelievable experience, I want to be scared to death, then a Z06 or a ZR1 are the right car for you. Overall, the C7 is doing quite well as far as the aging of its design. They still look quite modern. They still look quite aggressive. They're still very, very competent, comfortable cars for most people, not me. I think a secondary thing is C7s tend not to be terribly problematic. Yes, there are known problems with them, but it's not in all of them. In fact, it's probably a smaller percentage than the internet would lead you to believe that have these problems. So I hope that answers your question. And if you guys have further questions about which C7 might be right for you, please put it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, and I will answer as many of those questions as I can myself. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you soon.